Welcome to the Gus and Zach Learning Hour. I'm Gus.
I'm Zach.
And today we have a very special guest, 9-time Emmy Award winning
Nour Blankenship. What? Anyways, you want to tell us what happened that day?
That day?
Yeah, that day.
So I'm pretty sure that's from when I was in Paris as a young child. I have no memory of that event, but that's just a picture that's...
So how do you know it's you?
Because on my computer it says that it's me.
Doesn't look like you.
Well, I think it does, actually.
You look a
Especially
little
if
different now.
No, because I was like 3 when that
Well,
picture
Nora, you
was
have
taken.
a...
But you do look
You're
different.
different.
No, but I was 3 when
That
that
doesn't look like you.
See, I'm 17 now. That picture was taken when I was 3.
You sure?
Yeah.
We'll believe you for now.
All right.
So we're just good.
Today's episode is about history. Specifically, very old history. Ancient history, in fact. Our friend Nour here is a bit of a historian and expert. So, starting off, how much do you know about Percy Jackson, and where does he fit in within our historical context?
Okay. So Percy Jackson. Honestly, I wasn't a huge Percy Jackson guy growing up, to be honest. I did watch the first movie, but I never read any of the books.
Wait,
but
you watched the first movie as well?
I did.
I watched the first movie and read no books.
Yeah, same thing. So, but Percy Jackson is grounded in mythology, of course, from ancient Greek mythology, and it's a lot of people's that's where all of their knowledge of mythology comes from. So they also get a lot of, I guess, maybe misconceptions from that and stuff, such as like Hades, Hades being evil, for example. Hades isn't really evil. He's just kind of a guy.
But he's like the leader of like hell.
Well, yeah, but it's not really hell. See, they didn't have heaven and hell. They had like the underworld. Everybody went to the underworld.
Everybody.
Everyone. And
So, like,
everyone. So every single person went to the underworld.
Did demigods go to the underworld?
No. Well, we can think about that. Usually, I guess not demigods. Well, no, demigods did go to the underworld, but they got to go to a special place, which was like paradise. But your average Joe kind of got thrown into this soup of souls that just kind of went around in the underworld.
I have an interesting question. At the time, did anybody go around claiming to be a demigod, but they just weren't?
If you say Jesus, you're going to get in a lot of trouble.
Well, Alexander the Great claimed he was the son of Zeus and genuinely believed it.
Was he?
I mean, we know about him today. I know about him more than I know about any other demigod.
Right, but well, see, Alexander the Great, was he? I don't know, because he died of a fever in Babylon. So, he kind of took a fat L there. But
so, do you believe that you would have been? Do you believe you're a demigod?
No. I don't,
No.
because I'm a Muslim.
Do you believe?
So if I do that, that's that's a sin.
That's
actually.
a sin
It's
if you
sin,
believe you're
yeah.
a demigod?
Yeah, it is.
Do you
actually.
believe that? What if So like the whole idea of a demigod, you're part God, right? Part human.
Yeah, part human, part God is like a demigod. Half God is what it means.
So Jesus would be a demigod.
Well, so actually no, because according to Christianity, he's fully God and fully human.
You would know that if you went to church every once in a while.
Well,
Yeah.
so basically, because most Christians believe that Jesus has two natures. Well, that is a whole complicated thing with this, lots of history, but basically, generally Christians believe that Jesus is both fully a man and fully a human. Or fully a God, I mean. Fully God and fully human.
Okay, so
All right.
that makes sense, I guess.
Well,
Whatever.
So,
I mean, kind of.
Nor, we pulled up a bunch of historical would you rathers, and
Yeah,
we'd like to ask you a couple.
All right.
Would you rather have a Pegasus or Cerberus?
That's actually, I gotta say.
No. Quickly, because I'm assuming people on the podcast might not know what Cerberus is. Could you explain to us what Cerberus is?
Cerberus was basically the guard dog of the underworld in Greek mythology. And so he was a 3-headed guard dog, and famously Hercules tricked him with like treats basically, and just like
Mm-hmm.
basically fed him treats so that he could bypass Cerberus, because basically Cerberus was there to prevent people who weren't supposed to be in the underworld from going to the underworld.
Okay.
So what would you rather?
I would have to say Pegasus. Just flying horse is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pegasus is pretty cool. Yeah.
I would probably say I would do the Pegasus because Cerberus has proven his worth and intelligence. Ever since Hercules got by him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that's kind of on Hades for trusting a dog to guard the entire underworld.
Yeah, a giant 3-headed dog.
Did he think that a 3-headed dog, they would have 3 brains, and so they would communicate, and that therefore better be able to guard the underworld?
You know, that's
Probably.
It's possible. I mean, it's not in the sources, but you know, we don't know. We have to guess at that point. You know. So.
Okay, because what I was thinking, right? I have 2 dogs of my own.
Yeah.
Someone tried to break in my house.
Yeah.
They'd yell a little.
Right.
They wouldn't do much else.
Yeah.
They're kind of dumb. They're dumb as bricks.
Right.
Let me tell you that much.
Right.
If somebody like throws a treat, they're running after that. Or even not even a treat. If you know the thing with cats where you shine a laser and they run after the laser.
Yeah.
My dogs will do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're dumb.
Yeah.
They're dumb as bricks. I don't imagine Cerberus was much different.
Yeah, probably not.
So-
Probably not. I mean, he was a dog, ultimately. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but was he like a pit bull?
That's usually actually kind of how he's depicted, a sort of pit
A
bull,
pit bull.
sort of big
Because
mean
pit bulls
dog.
are like evil.
Well, they're also they're dumb as bricks.
Yeah, most dogs are.
Most dogs are pretty dumb. If I were to trust an animal with guarding the underworld, you know what I would trust?
What?
A dolphin. Because
dolphin.
dolphins are smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Dolphins
that's
are
true.
smart, and they are also evil. You know they're evil?
Yeah,
Really?
they're evil.
Really?
They like run around and they'll beat up fish for no reason. They're not even hungry. They'll just beat 'em up.
The ancient Greeks were actually quite big fans of dolphins, so they might not have viewed them as evil.
No, but dolphins
Really?
do a lot
No,
of
yeah,
like evil
yeah.
stuff. Like a group of guys, they'll.
And,
They do bad things.
they do bad things, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. So what else?
So when you said the Greeks were big fans of dolphins, why?
Well, basically, we do have a lot of art and from vases and those kind of things that just depict dolphins, like depict people riding dolphins. I think there were a few ancient
That's
Greek,
awesome.
yeah, and there were a few ancient Greek city-states that I think had dolphins as their symbol. So I mean, Philadelphia's flag, in my opinion, kind of sucks. I think it would be pretty much better if we had a dolphin on our flag. I mean,
You have a flag for Philly?
yeah, there is a flag. It's like
Flag for everything.
blue stripes with a yellow stripe in the middle, and
Oh.
it has like a coat of arms, and it's kind of boring. And
That does sound kind of... Nour,
yeah,
when you say there were drawings of people riding dolphins, do you think they actually did that? Because I don't think a man could fit on a dolphin.
Well-
And if I may continue,
Mhm.
if they did not ride a dolphin, what do you think compelled the dude to be like, you know, it'd be awesome if I drew fan art of myself riding a dolphin?
Well, so I think dolphins are known to be very playful and friendly to human beings. So I think, I mean, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think I have seen people kind of sort of like riding dolphins or like holding on to dolphins and dolphins swimming. But you're right. I mean, dolphins aren't necessarily the biggest animals. So I think people also just like to draw mythological things and things for fun, you know? So, the Amazons, for example, they didn't actually really exist probably, but they are depicted in Greek art quite a bit. Always being defeated by the men, of course.
I have a question.
Always, yes.
Gnomes are depicted in a lot of different cultures of being
That's another.
real.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think gnomes are real?
I have found no evidence to myself.
I know there's no evidence out there. I mean, I'm going into anthropology, archaeology. I could maybe go find some gnome bodies for you to study. If I go out and do that, would you be willing to study the bodies?
I mean, sure. I mean, if gnomes were proven to be real, I think it would be a pretty big discovery.
A pretty big discovery? I mean, like
a pretty significant, very significant
but
discovery.
what would we even do with that information if we figured out gnomes were real?
I mean, I guess it would. I think it would prove that there's another species of intelligent life on Earth.
Yeah, but what if we just assume...
No, they're not that smart.
But like they're dead though now. That's
They're
the thing.
dead, and they weren't that
So
smart.
like
when
they're
they were
extinct,
alive.
you mean?
I mean, actually, I guess we don't know.
Well, if they're extinct, then they'd just be like every other,
Like-
like, you know, like all of those, like, the ancient people we find, like the homonyms and stuff, like the
Yeah.
related species, but they're not actually human. It'd be like that. It'd just be like, okay, well, these people existed. You know, that's cool, I guess. Actually, they found a species of ancient homonyms on this one island in the Philippines, and they were like this tall. So they,
How tall is
they
that for the audio
that's like
listeners?
gnome size.
That's like, I don't know, they were like 3 feet tall. Max.
That's gnome size.
That's like
Nice.
so
That-
maybe
that's
they
probably-
were the gnomes.
They were
They
probably
were
the gnomes.
Yeah.
They were probably the gnomes
Except-
that people were talking about.
Except that maybe if they, do you think they wore their hats?
I don't know. We can't know that.
The gray
Unfortunately.
beards,
Unfortunately, we can't know any of that information. It doesn't
Yeah,
survive to the modern day.
I get it. 'Cause I picture gnome, I picture hat, gray beard,
Right.
little old guy.
Have you seen Gravity Falls, Nour?
Not a little bit.
A lot of gnomes there.
A lot of gnomes in
of
Gravity
gnomes.
Falls.
yeah.
They talk a lot about gnomes, and
Mhm.
I think, you know what else they talk about in that? They talk about the CIA. And since the CIA is real and in Gravity Falls, I think it is only normal to assume, using the same logic, that gnomes are real if they're in Gravity
Yeah,
Falls.
and Gravity Falls is owned by Disney, and Disney's one of the largest corporations in the world. So, you know,
Right.
Disney would be able to cover it up.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's true. I mean, and Disney's pretty evil,
Do you
but
do you think Disney will create like a real like an actual like mascot? Like, do you think they could genetically make a Mickey Mouse? Like a real Mickey Mouse that somehow science
Eventually.
advances, they make a Mickey Mouse that legitimately believes
Well,
he is Mickey Mouse.
aside that it would be an offense against God, I think that they in the future they probably could do such a thing.
I think they might.
Like they probably
Imagine
would.
imagine it's like Disney's like, hey, we have the new Mickey Mouse exhibit. It's legitimately Mickey Mouse. He believes he's Mickey Mouse. He has the memories of Mickey Mouse. He is Mickey Mouse.
yeah.
Would you go see it?
No, I would
would.
not actually, because it
Wow.
would probably be an unimaginable horror.
No, but he's cute.
But he's cute, and
But he's cute. He's
they
like-
allow him to run around on Disney.
how
property.
how big is Mickey?
He's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's 7 feet.
He's massive.
But he's like really kind. He has no anger.
He has no anger that we know of. He hasn't
See,
shown any
that's
signs
the
of
thing.
aggression.
See, what if he's
He has one rule: you can't leave the park grounds. And he's like, "What?" And they go, "You can't leave the park grounds." And they're like, "He's like, okay, I guess I'm Mickey Mouse. I can't leave the park grounds." But
No, but here's the thing. He doesn't want to because they've genetically engineered him to not want to leave park grounds.
yeah, he's perfect.
So he's fine.
he's perfect.
No, he's so happy.
Yeah,
But he
Well,
just happens to be a 7 foot tall
also
rat.
though, I just like have no desire to like go to any like Disney.
you should go to a Disney
Nothing?
park.
parks. Yeah, I have like no desire.
Nor,
to do
I'm gonna
that.
take you to a Disney park one day. And
Well,
your
we'll see.
mind will be blown.
You're gonna love it, Nour.
All right. Well,
you like Star Wars, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm
Oh,
gonna-
there's
although
so much
actually,
Star Wars.
yes, I would imagine since it's a Disney property, although it kind of ruins Star Wars somewhat.
No, but let me tell you,
I'm gonna-
man, the Star Wars pick it up. The Star Wars rides are pretty awesome.
There's
There's one called
Rise of the Resistance.
Rise of Resistance. We're gonna take you on Rise of Resistance. It's such an amazing ride. To the audience, well, you go through. It feels like you're in a movie almost doing this whole.
You
thing.
do. It's like a
It's
20-minute
very
adventure.
That's cool.
It's awesome, Nour.
And you can that'll be you will. It blows everyone's mind.
Okay.
Everyone. And you're gonna love it.
All right. So, what else you got for me?
Well, Nour, what I was wondering, okay,
Yeah,
is like it was just nagging at me ever since I've met you.
Yeah.
And it is my eyes are up here.
Yeah.
Which ancient Roman, Greek, whatever dictator / emperor would you like to be? Given the choice.
Who would I want to be? Okay. Well, that's a good question. So, I mean, my favorite Roman emperor is Marcus Aurelius because he was like basically like probably like one of the wisest Roman like rulers in
C-tier.
world history. He
What
he
about
was just a
Caesar?
pretty cool guy. Which Caesar?
Just Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar. See, because Caesar's a title, actually.
Yeah,
not just-
so, like,
okay, so Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar's pretty cool. And it was a very successful politician until he got assassinated by a bunch of senators in the Senate. So,
That would suck.
right. it would suck a lot. So I would probably not choose him. You know what? I would choose the Emperor Augustus maybe because he was like super successful.
With this question, do you
Okay.
become the ruler and you just live out his life how he lives, or would you become the ruler and then
Just walk around today.
just walk around?
Oh,
like,
today.
like if you were like if I was like, do you get the Julius Caesar mindset? Do you just actually become him?
No, you got your mind, but you are him.
Oh yeah. Wait, so like you could just go in the you might not get stabbed if you're Julius Caesar. You could fix it.
Oh yeah.
No,
No, you think he?
there's no universe where he fixes it.
Well, Julius Caesar, he did all his bad.
What? So if I'm Julius Caesar in the modern era, I still get stabbed to death?
Yeah, like imagine
But
you're
by who?
no, just imagine you're the president, and then you go to Senate, and then every single one of the senators stabs you.
Wait. At that moment, so you couldn't become him before he just declared himself like all ruler king.
Okay, you guys are thinking way too deep into this. Whose life would you like to have experienced?
There we go. That's a good one. Yeah, you know what? I would say, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I guess, you know what? The Emperor Augustus, the first Roman emperor, he had a pretty chill life.
What do you do?
Well, he's probably one of the most successful politicians in all of world history. And he was basically, he was like Julius Caesar's adopted son, but he was actually his grandnephew. But basically, after Julius Caesar got assassinated, he basically like embarked on this like epic 20-year story to avenge Julius Caesar effectively, and then that ended with him becoming the emperor of Rome.
Like John Wick.
Awesome.
Like John Wick, sure, yeah. Sure.
Fueled by
Fueled by hatred. Except instead of his dog getting killed, it's his grand uncle.
It's his grand uncle, right? So basically, yeah. So Augustus, he just basically like completely like wins. Like he, you know, if he's the main character of his story, like he completely defeats everybody and just is paramount.
Well,
in
like,
power.
Okay, so like who did he go? Did he just like kill every single one of the senators, or what did he do?
So he did kill a lot of senators, actually. There was these things called the prescriptions. So basically he and his buddy Mark Antony, who was like one of Julius Caesar's friends.
Mark Anthony?
Yeah.
like the song.
Yeah.
Like
so,
the Latin pop artist?
Yeah.
Was he around then?
No, not the Latin. Like, this is another guy.
Oh, okay.
The original
No,
Mark Antony.
He's talking about Mark Anthony Sr., his dad.
Oh yeah.
Okay, continue.
Okay, whatever. So basically these two were like, oh, well, now we have political control of Rome. So now we want to like avenge, you know, Julius Caesar's death. So then they basically created these things called the prescriptions, which have happened once before earlier in Roman history. But anyway, basically the prescriptions is that they got a list of their political enemies, and then they would publish that list in the Forum, which is like the center town square of Rome or whatever. And they would publish that list, and those people, if they were on that list, their lives were forfeit, and anybody had the right to kill them. And if you killed them, then like you would get a reward from the
It was
state.
just a public it was like a bounty hunting, but you know.
Yes.
they're all just-
So like thousands of people were just like massacred
It's like the
in their.
Purge.
Yeah, it was, and then their property was seized by the state to pay for military campaigns. So, yeah.
This guy seems like he was like.
This guy seems
tight
awesome.
ship.
This guy
Like,
seems awesome.
You want to be this guy?
Well,
This is the guy you want to be?
you said which Roman emperors. Here's the thing: a lot of Roman emperors
Yeah.
don't end very well.
It's because back then things they worked a little bit differently. They were okay with just the public
Well,
mass execution.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's true. I mean, the Romans like loved blood sport. I mean, you know, the gladiator games, chariot racing. They crucified a lot of people.
Yeah.
Although that wasn't a sport, but well, see, when I said Marcus Aurelius originally, I said Marcus Aurelius, and you know, he lived an okay life and he didn't get assassinated in the end. But at the same time, he also spent like most of his rule fighting a war. And, you know, that doesn't seem very fun. Whereas Augustus, you know, once he achieved political power, he kind of just sat in Rome for like 30
Like a
years and
nerd.
did nothing.
Yeah.
Now, Nour, do you think that if you became so since you would like to be the man who executed thousands, do you think if you came into power today, you would employ the same tactics, and what problems do you think it would solve?
Well, I don't know if I would employ the mass execution tactic.
Any reason why?
Well, I think, see, I would probably follow the Julius Caesar tactic initially, which would basically Julius Caesar.
Destroy democracy.
Well, no.
Hey,
Hold on.
Zach, let him finish.
So basically, here's the thing. Actually, I have a thing to say about that, by the way. But basically,
He's for it.
no. I'm saying no.
Finish. Let me finish.
Hold on. So
Let him
first off,
cook now.
Part of the reason why Augustus killed all of those people was because Julius Caesar didn't kill all of the people he had just... Because Julius Caesar got power because he fought a big civil war, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when he won the Civil War, he was like super chill and was like, "Don't worry, guys, we're friends again. I'm in power now, but we're cool. I'm not gonna kill any of you." So then they killed him. So then,
Jerks.
right. So then Augustus was like, "Well, no more Mr. Nice Guy, I guess." So then he killed
Mr. Nice Guy. Do you think he said? Do you think he got up to the throne after his granduncle was killed and went, "All right, no more Mr. Nice
Can you
Guy"?
say no more Mr. Nice Guy in Latin for us?
Oh God, no, that'd be hard to figure out.
You know Latin, though, right?
4
years, right?
4 years of Latin. You
Six,
can't say no more Mr.
six,
Nice Guy?
six, actually.
6 years. Let's bring it out.
We
No
don't
more
learn.
Mr. Nice
We don't
Guy
learn
in
spoken
Latin.
Latin.
You know what? Keep talking. I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay, sure. So basically, I mean, he might have said something similar because he did famously walk into the Senate with soldiers, which is something that was illegal. But he was like, "I don't care." So,
That's awesome.
yeah. So, basically, that's why Augustus killed all of those people. Now, I think if I was trying to gain political power, I mean, like, what?
Essentially the same.
That's wrong. That's just completely. That's just completely wrong.
He just goes, "Ultra, no more Mr. Nice Guy."
Okay, hold on.
Sorry, no. Keep talking.
So
We'll figure it out.
No. Hold on.
I think you're just.
There we go. Okay. So
So do you think, like, there are so many great quotes
wrong, too.
that I've done some cursory research on this
Right.
to prepare for this episode.
Okay.
And I found a lot of instances where they said various rulers said some awesome quotes.
right, there
And,
are a
like,
lot of awesome quotes from ancient history.
How much of it do you think was like stuff they actually said, and how much do you think was a writer saying, "Oh, this would sound awesome"? If they like,
So that's actually a super good question. So, a lot of the time, a lot of historians and stuff from antiquity were not contemporary to the people they were writing about.
Right.
So, if I'm a historian writing 150, 200 years later, and I'm like writing about what some guy who lived 150, 200 years before me said, it's unlikely that a lot of what they would be saying would actually be
I have a
true.
counter argument.
Yeah.
Those old guys had a lot of time, and I imagine
that's
it's
true.
like, let's say Greek time, right? Whatever.
You
You
know?
have some Greek guys who are like, "All right, I want some quotes to let my legacy be out there." It's like, I'm super cool. He writes a quote. 100 years later, these rulers are like, "Man, I got all this time. I gotta leave my legacy for some cool quote I'm doing." He spends a week thinking of a quote. He's like, "There we go. I got it. May God be my, I don't know, lover," or something stupid, you know?
Uh-huh.
Is that the best thing you can?
That was
Thank God.
Hey, listen, I don't have a week like these guys do, okay?
Okay,
I can't
well,
think that fast.
So
But that's my argument. I think that they did make them. Now, I feel like the translation might have been lost a bit, but I do believe they probably came up with some goofy quotes.
no, I mean, well, because then I was gonna say there are historians who were contemporary and even like literally like eyewitnesses living in the time and like seeing these events happening.
Right.
So they would record
Okay.
probably some real quotes and stuff.
So do you? I guess is that you might know a little more about this going into anthropology and all, but like, is that the primary reason like we know things about that period of history? Because like, is it like that and like like records of like rocks and stuff? How do we know?
How do we?
all of
I
this
mean,
happened?
essentially, it's based off just text at the time and just like witness
Well,
accounts.
so
It's, I mean, we can infer from the artifacts that you find and stuff like that, but genuinely it is just a assumption that what they're saying is correct.
yes, that's true.
Like-
So basically, ancient history, like ancient Roman, ancient Greek history, I think upwards of 95% of everything that was written is lost.
Oh,
just
you know-
completely.
Do you know the guy who wrote about all the philosophers in Greece?
Uh,
There's a guy. Well, I'll just explain. There's a guy in that essentially all these philosophers, all these people. He wrote that they all essentially died in some crazy way. Like he just made up some crazy stories, and we have to assume this is fact because he's the only one who wrote about it. Like he said that one of these philosophers, they died because a turtle was dropped on their head and just died.
Like Mario
Well,
Kart.
Yeah.
Well, so actually, that is true. Sometimes we rely on single sources, and that can be very difficult. So that's where historians try to, infer based on what we can, like what is like separating the fact from the fiction. As for people dying from things being dropped on their head, that actually happens several times in antiquity. Most famously, there was this one Greek king who was fighting in a city, and he was fighting a soldier in the streets, right? And then basically he killed a guy, and then the mother of the guy who got killed like saw this, so she dropped a brick on his or a roof tile on his head, and he died.
I think this is a long-running joke in the history. Like, these guys are like, all right, no one knows how this guy died. I'm just going to say something got dropped on his head because it's really funny and stupid.
Do you think they competed to see who could come up with the dumbest thing?
Yeah, no,
The guy, you think the turtle guy won?
like, some guy, yeah, definitely. Like, some guy, like, got chased down by dogs, apparently. Like, a philosopher. Like, a very famous philosopher, it recorded, apparently got chased down by dogs and was eaten. I don't know how you end up in that situation where dogs are chasing you and you get eaten by them, but it's very just stupid, like, history stuff like that where I'm like, did that happen? I mean, maybe because things were so crazy at the time, but like the thing where a turtle gets dropped in your head and you die, it's like...
You know what's crazy? It's like, we think about history as, like, so much happening and, like, it being crazy, but there's, like, hundreds of years between, like, these events. Like, apparently, the like, pyramids are closer to the dinosaurs being around than they are to today, like, when they were constructed.
No, it's that.
No,
the,
I think
that,
we're closer
that,
to Caesar than we are.
Yeah, no, it's that Cleopatra and Julius Caesar and stuff is closer to us than to the construction of the pyramids.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Like, yeah, like the pyramids.
They're that far apart.
The pyramids are unfathomably
Yeah,
old.
time feels strange because it's like not even 300 years ago America was founded. Like before that, there's like country like people go for like all these crazy like spans. Like people, there's like someone I think someone's grandfather even today was like John Adams or something or like John
No,
Adams'
there's
son.
John, the president. I think John Tyler has a living grandson.
Yeah,
That's
something
crazy.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these people who were like around at almost the foundation of the country, they still have like direct lineage of grandparents.
Oh yeah, I mean America's a very young country, obviously, and I mean when we're talking ancient history, yeah, it's like even crazier. But with what we know about history, I mean 95% at least of ancient texts have been like just completely lost, and we just have no record of them. So what we do have is very precious, obviously. So from what we know about history, we know about from what historians were writing. And then yes, we have epigraphic evidence, which is like inscriptions and stuff, what people wrote on rocks and this kind of thing. And then we have the archaeological, what is left in the archaeological record. And I mean, it's very interesting because sometimes all we have from a culture is literally like their garbage. Like all that survives archaeologically is like literally like a garbage dump from like their civilization. And then like, the pottery and stuff that we find in that is like super valuable. Or hopefully super valuable because then we can like know kind of what was their material culture like, but you can't get that much from a garbage dump. But I mean, imagine if 2,000 years from now all that survives of your house is like the garbage.
I mean, they'd probably be able to get out what I did from my garbage. They'd be like Diet Coke cans.
That's true.
Coke
See?
Zero
The
cans.
flarp. They probably bring up the flarp.
the flarp and
But here's the thing. Then they would wonder. See, this is the thing: is that without records, sometimes the garbage dump might not be accurate because you have all of these Diet Coke cans, right? So then they might think they could say, oh, you consumed a lot of Diet Coke, but maybe they think that you were a manufacturer of like that there was a major manufacturing center of Diet Coke nearby or something, and that you were like
That'd be
central to a Diet Coke.
They
trade.
probably would.
They probably would
I have a
think
lot
that.
of soda in my house. He'd be like, "Is he trying these out? Is he getting them for free? Like, this family went through so many soda bottles in like a week. What's going on?" And
Nor, what do you like? So let's say the internet is gone and they can only rely on like things like that, like garbage and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's say I like inscribed in a rock that Zach was the smelliest human being alive. He had a stench to him, man.
Right.
And then I hid that. Would people thousands of years in the future write stories about how bad he smelled?
I mean, I'm not sure about whole stories. However, it would be your mark on history because assuming that inscription survived, yeah. Like, I mean, here's the thing. Think about how many people have lived. There's been like 110 billion human beings who have ever lived in all of human history, including those who are alive today, right? And so, like, basically, out of those, like, tiny percent of them actually leave their mark on history and are actually like remembered for anything. So when we find an inscription by some guy, it's very valuable and kind of gives us a glimpse into
it's
those
just
kind
the
of things.
assumption that we're gonna find it, because like I'm assuming Gus isn't the first guy in history to think if I write on this rock that my pal is really stinky, it'll be really funny. Because we don't assume
of course
that,
not.
But people back in the day, they also laughed as well. Like there was definitely people like during like Pompeii or whatever when the volcano erupted, they were like, "This is pretty stupid." Like, laughing and stuff at the time.
Well, Pompeii is actually super interesting because we actually have a lot of graffiti that survives from Pompeii.
Really?
Yeah, because basically, when the city gets covered in volcanic ash, everything gets perfectly preserved.
Yeah, you can see like people's humans' bodies. And
right.
stuff
So there's like what's left. There's like, so it's actually not actually their. It's not really their bodies.
Yeah,
it's basically the superheated ash. Like when it landed on their bodies, it basically like vaporized them and then left like a husk that's like made out of like
that was
hardened
probably
ash.
a little painful.
Probably.
Might have hurt a little.
Slowly being covered in volcanic ash and burning alive, and then like
Yikes.
Although actually we have some evidence of people. Some of those bodies are like people who are asleep and that kind of thing. Although a lot of people also have faces of agony, like they were asleep and then they're like frozen in sort of a screaming state. So yeah, they probably
how
were. In a
fast
lot
do you
of
think
pain.
it happened? Like a minute?
The
Do you
explosion?
think, like I'm saying, like how long do you think they were in pain? Like a minute, 30 seconds?
It probably wasn't that long.
5
Depends.
seconds.
It probably wouldn't be that long though. I mean, if the ash and rocks and stuff is probably falling down pretty
Did
quickly.
you know the
so-
process of drowning is like you're like still conscious for like 10 minutes?
Wow,
Almost.
that's
Like
terrifying.
you're in like pain for like a long time. It
That is wild.
doesn't sound like a fun way to go.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so Pompeii is very valuable because of all this like stuff that survives from there. Including actually, there's a library in Pompeii where all of these scrolls got basically like carbonized, so they actually got preserved by the eruption. And they're actually still decoding those scrolls, and a lot of those scrolls contain works of ancient history that were lost
Do you think like
to us. So now that's exciting.
Do you think like when they all built the town around the volcano, they were like, did they know that the volcano was like a thing? Maybe they just assumed that maybe if we pray to God enough times, like we'll be fine, and
Yeah, who's the city
pretty
planner?
cool. Like who was? Do you think they ever looked inside? And was like, that looks a little dangerous, but at least it's pretty far down. We're good.
So
Do you think they had like a city planner named Carl who told them everything would be all right?
so
and then when it exploded, they're like, "Damn it, Carl!"
well.
And then
So the thing is Pompeii, when they were building it around there, that volcano, I don't think they didn't really have a sense of like geology and how like volcanoes, like about tremors and like signs that a volcano would explode and how long it takes to. So basically, it was like when they founded the town, it was probably just a dormant volcano. And so basically, because the thing is volcanoes were considered, I believe, the realm of the god Vulcan, or Hephaestus, who was the like the smith of the gods. So like when he was angry, then volcanoes would erupt. So the idea was to keep them happy, keep him happy, and keep the gods happy. And if the people were religious, so yes, actually praying to the gods and being religious and praying that the volcano doesn't explode, or actually not praying that the volcano doesn't explode, but that they don't get punished by the volcano exploding.
The whole idea, though, of like, to be fair, like we think now that we know more science and stuff like that, like all this religious stuff, but to be fair, humans interact with each other. Their actions have direct consequences with other people. So like it's like I say something evil to you, you might be angry, you might do something bad. And it's like, oh well, that's a direct consequence. I'm assuming as a general mass, you see this giant volcano, and you're like, holy crap, yeah, something must be going on that I don't know about that's creating this, and then it erupts.
Yeah,
must be my fault.
It just makes sense to think about, like, if I do, like, I talk to someone and you're right, like, if I do something and they're mad, then they do something back at me.
It must make sense. If, like, the whole community does something bad, then, yeah, the volcano's going to erupt and we're going to die. We deserve this.
Right, so basically, and so actually, very interestingly, Pompeii was renowned. It was like the Las Vegas of Italy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, there was a lot of, like, elite, or not elite, well, yes, probably illegal, what some Romans would call immoral activity, lots of gambling, lots of,
see, look at that.
That kind of stuff. It was just like Las Vegas, pretty in that sense. And
the whole road was probably at the time like, yeah, they deserved it. It's all right.
Was it like the New Jersey?
In terms of like
scumminess, like Atlantic City, New Jersey.
No, it's a lot like New Jersey. New Jersey, no, because it was like a fancy place. Like it was considered like. It was considered kind of immoral and like sort of like morally low, but it wasn't like New Jersey where it's just like actually like right. I would say the closest equivalent to New Jersey, if we're talking about the Roman Empire, would be probably Britain, the province of Britain. Britannia, as it was called, was like the last main province to get conquered, and it was always the backwater, and it was always the poorest province, and it was always a huge waste of money to send troops there, and if you were a Roman soldier and you got assigned to Britain, that kind of sucks.
Is it modern day Britain? Is that?
It is modern day Britain. It is England and Wales specifically. The Romans never really conquered Scotland, or Ireland.
They were always just fighting each other there for that, like. Like when the Vikings showed up, when in Norway, they this one king, he spent his whole time like, we're gonna take over England and this is it.
I have to say, it is shocking the amount of blood that has been spilled over the Isle of Great Britain.
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth it, frankly.
I think it's probably just because of I imagine they all fought each other there. Like, Europeans were like, all right, we're gonna start fighting each other to realize we can, take each other's money. And England ended up being this place where all the money was, and they're like, oh, well, all the gold's there. We might as well go there. And then the person who takes over realizes this place is a.
Well, the fact of the matter is that there actually was no gold in England. Really, again, it was the poorest province always. The one thing that England had going for it, or Britannia, was that it was always historically a great source of tin. And tin is important for making bronze. So basically, you take tin and copper is like super common, but what's rare is tin. So Britain was valuable for its tin reserves, basically.
So do you think it also had anything to do with the English Channel, and like
what the backwaterness?
No, like the people wanting it.
The people wanting it. Oh,
like geographically.
Well. I don't know. Honestly, the English Channel is actually an obstacle to conquest. So I think it was always kind of considered sort of a mysterious place. Julius Caesar actually invaded Britain twice. And he didn't stay either time because he had a terrible time there. He almost lost the first time. And then he went back a second time, I guess, to make sure that they knew who was boss.
So that's why I go to New Jersey every once in a while.
Just show
up. So here's the thing. There.
See, because Julius Caesar basically conquered modern day France. That's what he's most famous for in terms of like expansion of the Roman state. And modern day, the Romans considered anybody who wasn't a Roman or a Greek a barbarian. But
makes sense.
But for the ancient French, the Gauls as they were called, they did have a certain level of civilization. Like, they did live in cities and stuff, and they weren't quite maybe as advanced as the Romans necessarily, but they were actually pretty civilized, as you might call it, even if the Romans regarded them as sort of lesser people. But the Britons, the Britons, my God, I mean, Julius Caesar hated them. They were like the worst. They were like as barbaric got. The Gauls also considered them super barbaric, even though they were related to each other.
To be fair, they took over the world then.
The British?
Yeah, they were like the underdogs. They were like, you guys all think we suck? Yeah, well, we're gonna colonize all of you.
Well,
They went
that
on
was
Are you on the British side?
after
they went on a rampage. I'm just saying, like
let's see, that was after they did that after. But here's the thing. You know what? It wasn't the Celts though. Here's the thing. The ancient British people were Celts. So they were like, they were the same people as like the Irish and stuff. But
the
then
original British were
the Celts
they were from Wales actually.
the Celts in England don't exist anymore. They don't. They were driven to, so they either were driven out to Wales, Scotland, and Ireland, or so basically Britain. The English are descended from now. There's a lot of French blood, a lot of Germanic blood from the Anglo-Saxons. There's some Viking blood in there, which is again Germanic. And lots of just foreign influences.
Yeah,
so
now the Vikings took over England, and the direct lineage of the monarchy, it goes back to when the Vikings first
right.
took
So
over.
you might say that it wasn't really it wasn't the ancient Britons who conquered the world. It wasn't the same people. It was a different group of people. It was just the people who happened to be living in England.
I just mean more like the the morality of the around the English flag. Not that they did anything Not that they were really good people. Probably one of the more evil people in history because of the
all of the thousands of years of colonizing and pillaging.
We
and
know
murdering.
us Americans. We escaped them. And then Barbados, they escaped as well recently from the Queen before she left.
Before she kicked the bucket.
Before she left us.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'd like to bring up something.
Yeah.
Very quick. Still, I was thinking about this earlier when you talked about the would you rather. Who would you be in history? But I always thought this one guy was kind of funny and just pure cruel. Yeah. So like he was the Pope, and this guy, he did something stupid to him. He just didn't like him, but he hated him so much that he got buried. He dug him up and then put him on trial.
Oh yes, body. I heard about this.
Like he was
which Pope was it? I forget.
I don't know, but he was like,
I forget which Pope it was.
You're dead. And he was like, I hate this guy so much, I'm gonna put him on trial for his dead body. They had a guy there pretend to be him and like pretend to like talk, and then the Pope would go, "Shut up! You can't talk. You don't have any right to speak."
Like ick.
Yeah, like ick.
Yes. So yes, the cadaver synod. Right, I remember. So yes, basically, So yeah, basically that's basically part of this period of papal history called the pornocracy, and I kid you not, that's the actual name historians use for it.
Alrighty then.
Basically it's this period from like it's like this. I think it's from like the 700s to like the 900s maybe, of basically like the sort of dark ages of the papacy where like nothing good really came out of the Pope or the Catholic Church. I mean, there was tons of immorality, lots of, that kind of thing, like putting a dead Pope on trial and stuff.
Yeah, they just
did
like crazy stuff.
There was one story, there was one Pope who basically was having an affair with a nobleman's wife, and then the nobleman caught him and then threw him out of a window and killed the Pope. Because he was having an affair.
He just killed the Pope?
Yeah, he just threw the Pope out of a window.
That's wild.
At the time, like essentially like the like we said earlier, like the demigod at the time, he's like, "You're done." Out the window.
But stuff like that just happened.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like,
yeah.
It's because, in my opinion, the reason we have become so much more like kinder to each other to an extent, and so much more like liberalized and stuff. I believe that America becoming one of the first countries to become really free in this idea that we're like equality to an extent. Obviously, it didn't start out, super great, but we worked on it and we're still getting better. I think that like led a spark for every other country to become, Because like, look at everybody now. Like, if you look at most countries, they all have like the title of like republic or democracy in them. Whether or not they're actually following that or not, they might be doing some trickery, foolery. But overall, the world's trying to lean more towards a human beings are human beings, not just gladiators for us to throw in and have them fight each other.
Yeah, let's see. The only countries that aren't republics or democratic republics or whatever is let's see. Or that don't claim to be democratic. There's the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Sultanate of Oman. I think all of those like kind of Gulf countries, and then the Sultanate of Brunei, which is in like Southeast Asia.
Think about living under like a king right now. Like imagine like you're just like, yeah, I have no
British.
But that's like such a puppet monarchy. Imagine like legitimately living under someone. You're like, yeah, there's a king, and like,
who
I don't have any rights.
You know who wanted there to be a king? Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
He tried to hire a king. He tried to get a prince from Prussia. He literally contacted him asking, hey, you want to be the new king of America?
Yeah, I heard that story.
And then everyone else was like, hey, no, that's against the entire point.
Well, they wanted he wanted George Washington at first, and then George Washington was obviously like, nah, I'm good.
He's like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. George Washington was such a, I mean, we talked about it a big, Gus, but like, he had slaves. He did like this weird thing where like he would like watch them while he worked, and then he would hold them to that quota. Because like he was like, I know you work more when I'm watching. I want that to be the standard. And then like he wrote off in his will like how like he'd have his like slaves stay alive with Martha, and then like once like she dies they can be free or whatever. But then like Martha was like, no.
Yeah, it is like a lot of American history is whitewashed to a point where it becomes incorrect. Like not like whitewashed in that sense, but like whitewashed to the point where they like take out all the bad stuff. Like George Washington, I feel like. And this is, I'm definitely not the first person to say this, but there are like, it does get to a certain point where if you simplify people down to a certain point to being like all good, then it becomes meaningless. Like,
well, I mean, George Washington is, for all intents and purposes, the one of the gods of the United States. I mean, if he literally. Is it in the Capitol? I think in the Capitol, which is, like the Congress, like he's depicted on the ceiling as the god Jupiter, the king of the gods.
It's very human nature for us to do that. I don't know what, because like it was
the idolization of great leaders.
Guys. They were just like they were literally people like us founding a country. Like they didn't even think it was gonna work. They just like made it.
No, they were all like kind of Roman history like nerds, to be honest.
Which is why
isn't that crazy how like in the old days like Alexander the Great said he was a demigod and people believed him, and nowadays we have like George Washington depicted as Jupiter. Like, not that much has changed.
No, very little has changed. And although there is a different... I would say there is somewhat of a different... I think George Washington, based on what we can see in the historical record, was pretty humble and didn't want to really be elevated to that status at all. True, yeah. But then he did posthumously after he died. But Alexander the Great, He
knew what he was.
He knew what he was, and then there were people who continued to worship him as a sort of god after he died. There was a cult of Alexander.
You know who did something cool? Napoleon at the time, like his way of like conquering. He was like the most like he would go up to people and be like, I don't care what you guys do. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your race is. Just as long as you go like, hey, you're cool. He would like. I think he even like I could be wrong. You can correct me, but I think in like Islam, he like even like prayed of like some of them as well. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll join you guys here for a bit if it means you like listen to me."
Well, Napoleon's relationship with Islam is very interesting and subject to a lot of debate and research. He did seem to speak pretty positively of it, but part of that could have just been a political ploy because he did invade Egypt, and foreign invasion people don't take kindly to, so he was possibly just trying to placate them.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. But I mean, the extent that he still showed that, like, oh yeah, you guys are, whatever. I still think it's a step in the right direction. In such an evil history.
I mean, Napoleon is considered one of the great, I think, like sort of lawgivers of history. I mean, Napoleon's a very interesting figure. Great military conqueror.
I'm gonna quickly grab myself another beverage.
Oh yeah. I need a beverage.
Would you like a sparkling water?
Sure, that'd be lovely.
So Nour, when you talk about like Like, how did you develop this like for ancient history? Like how...
Well, my dad is a historian.
That's not free, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
How much?
$12.50.
Yeah. You can
So-
pay it over time. It's fine.
Can I do 50?
50% now, 50%
No.
later.
Can I do wait, 12.50 you said? Can I do like 48 50-cent installments?
48.50 installments.
So 48.50 installments.
Or it's $12 plus I'll pay the last installment will be an extra 50 cents. $1. Yeah? Okay. Sounds
Sure.
good. All right.
Because if you paid 48,
Paid within the next
if
hour.
you said 50 cents, if you paid 50 cents 48 times, you'd be giving us $24 more.
So that's fine.
So that's whatever.
Okay.
But you can do that.
Paid within the next hour, though.
Wait. Oh, okay.
So
Well,
you
all
got-
right. Anyway, what was your original question?
Oh, how'd you get interested
Oh,
in
into history, right. Well, my dad's a historian, so I guess that's it pretty much. He he got me into history from a very early age. I remember I was watching like World War II documentaries at like the age of 6 and that kind of thing.
Oh, that sounds normal for human development.
Right, and like that sort of thing. So like, that's what I mean. Sure, it might not be the best thing for a 6-year-old to watch necessarily, but I mean,
Yeah,
it turned out how I am.
I don't know. I feel like, well, you talk about history. Those kids back in the day, they've gone through a lot of stuff. Like, they would just, there'd be wars, atrocities. I mean, even World War II at the time. Think about it. Imagine being, 5 and, your childhood memories is in, some evil camp somewhere.
Yeah, that happened for a lot of people.
I know, that just happened less than 100 years ago. And, now, our biggest problems is, what's going on in whatever our goofy lives in the suburbs. But,
Yeah.
That's true.
so, guess we,
Have we hit the hour?
Well, it's 2:30.
I don't know if
we haven't
played
at the hour,
yet.
so...
We'll go a little longer, but first, okay, we'll go a little longer. But we'll start this by playing the Zach and Gus number game.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
And it's this
Yes,
game.
here we go.
It's this game that Zach and I came up with. You're more of a humanities guy, so you might not be as good at it, which we understand.
Okay.
Because you're,
But-
really,
You're not. Your brain
you're not
is.
as bright as us.
Yeah, we're pretty smart, and we
Okay.
spent a long time coming up with this. But basically,
Mhm.
the idea is, I'm gonna say a number. I'm gonna say a number. Zach's gonna say a number, and you have to say a different number. And there are rules to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can figure out the game, if you can say the right number 3 times in a row, then we'll say you figured out the game and you win, and we'll give you a prize.
Okay, wait. Say that again.
So basically,
Yes.
you have to figure out what the rules to the game are.
Oh, I have to figure out the rules. Okay, fun.
I am going to say a number.
Right.
He's going to say a number.
Yes.
And you are going to say a number, and we'll tell you whether or not you're right or wrong.
Okay. Got
You
it.
have 5 tries to get 1 right.
It can be any number.
Maybe
Mhm.
well, you have to try to figure out the rules.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and we're gonna give you
But
5.
there's, a pattern and stuff. It's like...
Yeah, I see.
If you get none right 5 in a row, you lose.
Okay.
If you get 1 right, then you have to get a second one right within the next 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you can get 3 out of 5 one time,
Yeah.
then you win.
Got it.
All right, I'll start. 17.
12.
7.
Wrong.
Wrong.
All right, we'll go again.
49.
223.
67.
All right.
3 pi.
2.43.
6.78.
Sorry, buddy. This isn't your day.
All
You got 2 more tries, okay?
Okay.
Ready? 87.
33.
627,000.
Close, but not there. Not there.
Okay.
All right. 54.
21.
49.
Sorry, buddy. This isn't your day.
Hey, you got better though. You were getting closer every
You
time.
were getting closer.
Oh, yeah?
All right.
I mean, if anybody at home wants to try the game, there is a pattern. You can figure it out. We
You
we
played-
came up with it. We came up
If
with
you
it.
play the game, if you really listen to the numbers we say and you go along with his guesses, you can figure out the game. It is somewhat complex.
And know that he was getting closer every single time. Like
Yeah, okay.
I heard the numbers, like, oh maybe, and I was like,
Yeah, no,
Nope,
he was
just
getting better.
just as dumb as I thought he was. But
Yep. so that's the number game. You playing with the sauce?
yeah. I mean, we put out these sauces for him to use and like play with. And no, we have to do more of
What
this.
if I
We gotta
pound
talk
this?
to the camera. We haven't talked to the camera that much.
Oh yeah, let's talk to
What
the
if I
gotta talk to the
what if I
people out
absolutely pound this? Just like
You know what? I will
Oh,
give you $2 if you pound it. For the audio listeners out there, Nour has a
Nor has a
hot
packet,
mustard in his hand, and
a packet of McDonald's hot mustard
this is
in
what
his hand.
happens when you watch World War II documentaries as a kid. You
At
want
6 years old.
at 6 years old, you want to drink the hot mustard so bad, and like it comes like he was over here. If you haven't paid, he was like fiddling with it, you know.
Yeah, we cut out a lot
Yeah.
of him just drooling.
Yeah, he
over
was like
the table.
he had almost his mouth like get back to talking about you. He's like, we're like, dude. Yeah, this has been going on for almost 6 hours, but you know, if you want to go for it, I'll give you $1.
What did you see?
You said $2.
I will give you $2 if you drink that.
How about
legitimately.
$5?
Five.
$5.
No, you will get $5 from the Gus and Zach podcast.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, you will.
Okay.
Okay.
What's our number at, Zach? What would you? Can you see? I can't see that far.
That is, you know what? Because we have editing. We are at 56 minutes. So.
All right, we're at 56 minutes.
I can bring in some other topics.
Yeah,
as
we'll do a little
We'll do
more.
some more.
All right.
This is like just squeeze it in your
So
mouth.
for our audio listeners, this isn't.
Yeah,
gonna
get a little closer for the
Yeah,
camera.
okay,
to see
yeah,
as well,
let's hold it up to the
because, This
camera.
is coming from our
Okay,
pocket, our
here we
hard-earned
are.
money.
No. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm eating.
By the way, this is a day old. I imagine they last for years though. 'Cause they
It probably
made them
lasts
out.
This
forever.
is from Taco Bell, right or no?
No, this
McDonald's.
is from
McDonald's.
From McDonald's,
This is hot mustard here. So
Hot mustard and
Audio listeners, he's about to eat this whole thing for $5.
$5.
Oh,
That
oh,
is.
he didn't. That is
So
barely
he took like a
scratching
lick
the
off
surface.
the top. It probably would have been easier if he just ate it on.
If you just went after it, Nor, you're probably gonna vomit.
Yeah,
man.
that is like a hard. I don't know why you're doing it all at once.
That's not a.
I want to see the bottom.
Yeah, we want to. While you're working on that, Zach and I will talk about some of the other things that you can. So we'll talk to the audio and video listeners out there.
Yeah, we if you haven't already, if you're finding us for the first time, follow us on the Instagram. Beautiful artwork on there.
Beautiful artwork. Our
Absolutely
podcast
amazing.
art is by Jaewon Kim. Incredible artist. He's doing a great job. Almost made us want to pay him by how well he did. Not quite good enough to pay him.
Still angers me every time you mention wanting to pay him.
Well,
thought never crossed my mind.
He didn't want to pay him.
Thought never crossed my mind.
You can also email us. I'm going to leave a link in the YouTube description, and you can email us questions, and if we have time and we want to, we'll answer it. Let's take a look at the mustard packet. It's gone.
Ooh, that's some good work.
It's gone.
I'm sure you can see it up there.
We're not paying you.
That is some really good work there. You know.
You have to pay me.
No, we're not
You
paying
have to
you.
pay me.
We're not paying you. We've gotten the hour out of you. You don't get to press the floor
No,
button.
this is for us.
Okay.
Okay, so let me think of something real quick.
No, I think this is it.
This is it. I do want to pose one more question. One more for everyone to think about for a while. One would you rather? One.
Okay.
Would you rather? That's it.
Stop stalling.
Would you rather be really big or really small? Now just let that sit with you.
Now, when you say really big,
How big?
like Jupiter sized, or like how big? How big do you mean?
How big would you like to be?
Well, that kind of defeats the purpose of the question. When you
Just,
say
I'm just posing it for you for analytical reasons.
just analytical reasons.
Yeah, how big would you like?
I'll
to
put
be?
out an Instagram poll.
Okay, well, I will say you can be as big you are like wide and tall. So think like King Kong.
Okay, I'm gonna put this pose this
How small?
Small, think an ant from the movie Bug's Life.
an ant from the movie Bugs
you're
Life
human sized.
specifically.
But you're
Yeah.
wait, you're human sized?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
But if you're human sized but you're ant sized, how does that work?
No, you're human. Like you're a human still as an.
Oh, you're a
Oh,
human.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're a human.
Would I have to deal with the cricket?
Yeah.
Hopper, he's there.
You are a human, and you are running around in a Bug's world. You will be. Have you seen the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yeah, is that us?
You will deal with those problems.
They're smaller than an ant, though, aren't they? Don't they
Yeah,
like ride an ant?
No, they ride an ant. You get that advantage of being able to beat them up, but it's still
Yeah,
a
we
hard
can
fight.
kill them.
Like imagine like in real life, a human-sized cricket comes through the door your size and tries to beat the crap out of you.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, so like, which one do you guys choose? Just off the top of your head, then we'll.
Off the top of my head, I'd be little.
You'd be little?
Wait, no, I think I'd be big. Because you know what I want to do?
What?
I want to like run around and then like scare people in hot air balloons. Like they'd be up in the hot air balloon, and then I would reach up and almost and like I'd rock them.
You know what I'd do? I'd build a giant car for my giant body and just drive around.
You would kill thousands.
No, I'd only drive in the plains though.
The plains.
The Great Plains.
You would ruin
Some
Kansas.
farms and farmland might get destroyed, but
You would ruin
it'd
the
be so
crops.
awesome. So imagine you go super fast and then you jump out of the car.
I have to say, I'd rather be really small.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know, just like being kind of big, like being too big, kind of. The thing is, for example, like what would you eat if you're that big?
If you're really big,
You'd have to eat like literal. You'd have to eat like cows.
I imagine
like,
you're
plural.
I imagine a
cows.
country adopts you as a weapon and they gather enough food for you to eat.
Right. So
I
like,
would be the country that would recruit me would be the United States of America, and the country to recruit Zach would be Russia in their invasion of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And Zach would be so happy.
I think. I think I would just be small. You know, being small. You know, you need just being kind of cool.
All right.
All right, I guess if you want to
We'll put it up to an Instagram poll. You guys can decide. Other than that, I think this is the Gus and Zach Learning Hour signing off.
Finally got an episode.
Thank you, Nour. This is episode 1. If you liked it, please let us know. If you didn't like it, shut up.
You can
Keep
leave.
watching. This is episode 1. Give us a break for once, please.
That was
Be
really,
kind.
it was really nice to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Was it nice to
All
see
right,
you?
well, you're
really?
not
But
leaving.
That's fine.
Oh well.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, you just stay there.
Just stay right there. We'll just